Committee. I know Stefan Bufto welcomed you yesterday. I'm also a member here. I'm a UK member, which I'll explain later on. I want to try and pull in what you did yesterday, so I want to try and take it from a local level to a European level and to an international level and tell you how, as mothers, as women, we have no excuses. So, a woman is like a tea bag. She doesn't know her own strength until she's dropped in hot water. This is my story. At the age of 16, I was told that business is no place for a woman. That was by my dad. At the age of 19, I had an arranged marriage. I arranged it because my parents didn't agree with my choice. At the age of 23, I was told I was over-enthusiastic for my job. How can anybody be over-enthusiastic for a job, let alone it was a banking job? So I took my enthusiasm, and I have two beautiful daughters. At the age of 27, I was told that I would never succeed in anything that I wanted to do because I was a woman. That is by my now ex-husband. Yes. And the reason he's my ex-husband is because he put me on the floor and he kicked me. Wow. And for 2 days I couldn't move off the floor. Now, I am lying there at the age of 29. The whole of my life, it still brings up fucking thing in my throat. Whole of my life, people have told me that I cannot do. I was useless. I had no value to society. Well, you can either stay there on the floor and be a victim for the rest of your life, or you can make the change. If you're going to be a change maker, it has to come from inside you. And for me, that is actually the strength of us as women, and it's the strength of us as mothers. Now, obviously having kids, that's your first priority. I don't always share this, but when I'm speaking to a group of mothers like this, I think it's something that I can share. So I left the home and picked up the two kids and left when I could. And I left because the doctor said to me, I'll tell you this only once, it will never stop. He said, it's your choice whether you stay or go. So I took the kids and I left. And it was very, very difficult. I was actually in poverty. I had an asset of a house, but I was actually physically in cash poverty. This is the bit I want to share with you, because you have two kids, you know you have to survive, but the bottle of pills is on the side. And you get so low that you suddenly have to really make that decision. You think as a survivor of domestic violence, okay, that's the worst thing that ever happened to me. The worst point is realizing it doesn't get any worse than this, and almost taking those pills. And that's when your life changes. So you actually have nothing and you know you can't go any further. So please always bear that in mind. You can come up from anything. Never ever give up. So what did I do? Here's the thing. I had absolutely no confidence. What you see now is not how I was 20 years ago. I have no skills. I have no training. I have no qualifications. You're a survivor of domestic violence, you're a single parent, you're an Asian, you're an ethnic minority, you're a woman. There is really nothing else against you. So what do you do? Plus I'm in poverty. What do you do? I opened the cupboards of the kitchen and I found potatoes, flour, spices, because as an Indian we have spices in the cupboard. And I decided to make some samosas, and a samosa is a triangle packet Indian snack food, and I made 4. and I went out and I sold those 4. And I came back in with the money and I made 8. And 8 to 16, and 16 to 32, and 64, and so on. And 8 years later, we were providing 10,000 products a week. We went from my kitchen at home to 2 factories, both in regeneration areas. We went from supplying the local delicatessen to supplying supermarket and airlines. We went from just me to 35 staff. Every single one of my staff long-term unemployed. The majority of them women like me, single parents, but all of them without qualifications. And the thing I identified was that society has written all of us off. And if you give somebody the chance to be who they really want to be, they will really be the asset that grows your company and helps you, but also you help them. I want to explain to you, because we're talking about mothers, and because I get really, really fed up with hearing the childcare argument against business women and entrepreneurs. How did we do it? So there was just me, and literally I was running up to school in the morning, dropping the eldest one off, running back, making the food, asking the neighbour to look after the little one while I went out and sold and came back. And one day a woman said to me, who was standing outside the school, she said, "Come on, what are you doing?" She says, "Every morning you're running up." She says, "Half the time you're late picking the eldest one up from school." She says, "What are you doing?" So I said, "Actually, I'm making food." So she says, "Well, can you give us a job?" So I says, "No, I'm really sorry." I said, "I'm not making any money for me, never mind taking on anybody else." So she said, "Oh, okay." The next day I went up to the school again in a rush. She says, no, I need you." She says, "I need you." She says, "I have an idea." She said, "Here's the plan. We will come and work for you, 2 of us. And if we work for you, you can sell more. And if you sell more, you will get more money. And that way you can pay us." I says, "Yes, but we all have the same problem. We all have kids." So she says, "No, that's where the other person comes in. I will work in your kitchen," which is at the back of the house, and we're talking about a very small terraced house here. "She will work in my kitchen. I will go out and do the selling, and the other woman will sit in the front room and look after the kids." We used the Asian model of development. At one point on school holidays, there were 20 kids in my front room. Now, actually, the UK would today say that was illegal, but it works for mothers. It's a new system, and surprisingly, what do we hear now from corporates? That corporates are planning on putting in a room in some of the big corporates where one of the employees will be asked to look after the kids, and they'll change it over. There are other models of childcare beyond just social security, and we have to move away from the demand for social security or the government to cover the cost of childcare continually. If we want to be successful and we want to be taken seriously, then we have to look at alternative models, because basically, no matter which country you're from, the state is bankrupt. I never said that, please don't quote me. So, the other thing is the employees that we had, that they came to me. I have never advertised for employees. The word of mouth has spread that this is a great person to work for. It's a huge credit that I take, but I have never employed anybody on a CV, never. I don't care what it says on your CV. I don't care what qualifications you have. I just want to know that you want to work. You want to be part of a team, and you want to work with me for the benefit of others. And that's the philosophy that we have. And hence, the employees stayed with us. I became Asian Woman of Achievement. I became the UK's best boss. We were the fastest company to pass investors in people, and we had no paperwork. You could talk to any of my employees and they would tell you exactly how much profit we were making, how much loss we were making, who the clients were, if they wasted an ounce of flour, gram of flour on the floor, how much that would cost to all of us. They did the hiring and firing. It wasn't me who worked on the factory floor making samosas. Once I'd trained them, that was it. they then had to train the others. So therefore they all worked together, so therefore they should do the hiring and firing. Actually, the reason was I was physically sick the first time I had to sack somebody. So I never wanted to do it again. So you bring all these things in, but the most important thing that we had was the no blame culture. Everything that went wrong was Maddie's fault. Do you know, everything that goes wrong in the world is my fault. I'm serious, because once you accept that as your responsibility, you have the power of change in your hands. So my employees knew, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. I'm not bothered what goes wrong, it's my fault. And it's my fault because I must have miscommunicated somewhere. That's the only answer for it. Either you didn't train somebody properly, you didn't give them the message properly, something's gone wrong, it's your fault. That's it, accept it. So I came in one Friday and the staff says to me, oh, we have a huge problem. I said, don't give me problems, give me solutions. Okay, we have a whole lot of wasted product. We took on a new member of staff, and when you do the samosas, we were hand manufacturing, you seal the tops with your fingers. And if you don't press hard enough, the flour doesn't seal together. And when you drop them, you make a batch of 1,000 at a time, they all dry out. And when you drop them in the oil, they spring open if you haven't sealed them properly. And we had 1,000 products that had sprung open. So the staff came to me and I said, okay, so what's the solution? Well, the solution is this. And they had prepared for me a packet and curry on one side and these open samosas on the other to act as scoops to scoop the curry up. It was our best-selling product. Its innovation comes from mistakes. And social innovation often comes from women working at the grassroots because we can spot what needs to be done. The issue is, if you only keep the idea to yourself, it doesn't make a difference to the rest of the world. And that's one of the things I'm trying to promote, that we have to make a difference to the rest of the world, because as women, that is our strength. We are not selfish, we do not have egos. But we do want to help others. There are some women among us who, once they get to the top, want to hold those positions, but it won't be long before we get rid of them. Okay, mothers have key skills to be entrepreneurs. And this I want to point out. Mothers have key skills to do all jobs. And please don't get me wrong here. If you are a mother and you stay at home with your children, you are as valuable as a mother who goes out to work or a mother who runs their own business. Each of us has choice. This is what I want to maintain. I do not have work-life balance. I will admit there is no such thing for an entrepreneur at my level to have work-life balance. I will also tell you that my kids are extremely proud of me, and I'm extremely proud of my kids. We missed out a whole load of time when they were young and I was growing the business. But today they don't resent it. They don't resent it at all. They don't get the fruits of the company at all. They have their holidays and things, but they don't get the fruits of the company. They have to work, as I had to work, because I think that's really important. But they don't resent the fact that I went to work and I still go to work. So, as women, we are completely and very well organised, always. You may think you are in a panic, but we are very well organised. Not only do we have to look after ourselves, we have to look after our kids, and usually we have to look after the third kid, being the husband. On top of that, we also look after the parents on both sides, or aunties, uncles. We have that skill. We time manage. Whether it's getting to the kids to the school on time, we time manage. Whether it's getting to the laundrette before it closes, everything. Whether it's organising somebody's birthday party, remembering somebody's birthday. We are so organised, especially on time management. We have excellent people skills. We really know how to get the maximum out of people. And in today's world, valuing human capital is something we are forgetting to do. And this is why I'm encouraging more women to be in the decision-making process, because as women we value human capital, we know how important it is. We financially manage. There's very few women who can't manage the budget, the household budget. And that skill can be transferred to business very, very easily. Just have to apply it. We know the value of education and we know the value of health. And having an educated workforce, I'm not talking about qualifications, I'm talking about trained and engaged workforce. Having a healthy workforce are priorities. And we know that. We know the cost of the business if we don't have an educated and healthy workforce. So we care. We also do, and there's statistical evidence, more corporate social responsibility. So we invest in the community. We invest in sustainability and we invest in the long-term aspects of what we are doing. We are not short-term thinkers. Female-owned businesses are more successful than male-owned businesses. They grow slower, they are less risk-averse, and they invest only what they can afford, which means that they are not high-growth businesses that men want to invest in because the returns are not fast, but we fail less. I'll give you some US statistics. $3.5 trillion was turned over by female entrepreneurs in the US. They employ 7.8 million workers. Can't give you the figures for the EU because we don't collect them. Because if we collected them, it would show the discrimination that is happening. I am fighting that campaign at the minute. So, female entrepreneurs, mothers as entrepreneurs, we have a huge value to society, and it's not a gender argument, it's an economic imperative. We bring growth and jobs. Throughout the crisis we have been talking about growth and jobs, but we are still missing valuing female entrepreneurs. We are still missing valuing the contribution of mothers who stay at home. Instead of counting GDP, we must look for another alternative model which values the work of women to the economy. Why am I pushing entrepreneurship? You've heard me talk about entrepreneurship. You've seen how it's changed my life, but why am I pushing entrepreneurship? Let me explain very clearly. It's so simple. If I give you €1 and you give me €1, we each have €1. Agreed? If I give you one idea and you give me one idea, we each have 2 ideas. We're doubling the capacity. There are 7 billion people on the planet. If each person only had one idea and that one idea was turned into an action, how many of those actions could solve the current problems that we're in? Poverty alleviation, hunger, food security, climate change. We have to allow people and we have to enable people and empower them to turn their ideas into action. That is my goal, to turn 7 billion ideas into action. My name is Madi. Madi stands for Make a Difference Ideas. I decided if Versace and Gucci could register their name, then so could I. So I did, and it's now a registered trademark and nobody else can use it. And on the top of my name is an Om sign because I'm a Hindu. I'm not promoting Hinduism or pushing Hinduism on anybody. It's to remind me to be ethical in everything that I do. I no longer have the food company. I went bust. And I went bust because there was fraud in the government's business support services in the UK. What do you do? It was the second kicking that I had. Either I'm going to lie there and be a victim for the second time, or I'm going to make a difference. And that's what I did. I completely rebranded myself under Madi. I now run the Madi group. And let me just explain, I'm not going to go through exactly what we do, but basically we are private sector, social enterprises and NGOs. We earn money from the private sector businesses that we do, and they're global. I have global connections across the world. So from this little girl in Nottingham, I'm now doing international work. I have connections across the world at political level, at business level. My PA is based in Delhi. My personal assistant is based in Delhi. My largest client is based in the US. She gives me the emails in the morning. I send her emails last thing at night. He gives me orders last thing at night. I'm sending out the stuff to the rest of the world. There are no barriers. There are no borders. So don't think within boxes. At the same time, we use the profit that we make to invest it into social enterprises and things that are making a difference. And we own several of those companies. One of them is teaching entrepreneurship. And one of the things that we do is teach without business plans. There is not a successful person in the world, a successful entrepreneur in the world, who started their business with a business plan. Just bear that in mind. Business plans are for business schools, and very few of them turn out business people. Right? It's fact. It's fact. And I'm sorry for those of you who are in academia. Right? You have a business plan. I asked the European Commission once, why do we teach business planning? We teach business planning to access finance. Well, I'm really sorry, but if you're accessing finance before you start your business, you're starting your business for the wrong reason. Have an idea, prove your idea works. And then we have NGOs. And the NGOs, and this was not my idea, but this is how it's turned out, is we have Madi centres. So we have Make a Difference idea centres. And the first one we set up was in Macedonia, and they chose Madi, and it means the Macedonian Association of Development and Integration, so it doesn't even mean the same thing there. And there we support survivors of domestic violence. You have to have profit in order to have choice. And you have to when you do choice, you do the things that you want to do. And this is what I want to do. This is how I want to change the world. And now we're doing Madi centres. Somebody approached me the other day, wants to do a Madi centre in Cameroon for women in prisons. So we're now setting up that. But it's growing and it's rolling, and basically that's what I do. Alongside all of that, I am on the decision-making processes and the policy-making processes here in the European Union. All my expertise goes in a reality. Most of my members here hate me because I'm actually saying how it is on the ground. I'm fighting for women, I'm fighting for the cause, I'm fighting for mothers, but I'm also fighting for single parents, I'm fighting for survivors of domestic violence. I'm also fighting for big business, because I know that we need profit in order to make a better world, but I'm also fighting for corporate social responsibility and business ethics. That's what I do. That is basically my life. Gandhi said, you must be the change you want to see. Madi says, you must be the change you want to see, no excuses. I have my business card. I don't know if I have enough, but I have my business card for those of you who want it, and inside is a small token. You take the token out of here and you put it inside your purse. But before you put it inside your purse, you make a commitment to change your life or change somebody else's life. Every time you open your purse, you first of all think of me, and remember that this small little person, unqualified, the UN rejected me, the UN won't use me because I don't have any qualifications, and you realise that, okay, she can make a difference, so can I. And then you remember your commitment. And once you've made your commitment, you can take it out and throw it away, or better still, you can pass it on to somebody else to make their commitment, or you can make a second commitment. So they're available. Thank you very much for listening to.